Hey everyone, Dr. Jamie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and get health and wellness videos from me regularly. Let me know at the end if you enjoyed this video to hit the like button, and also if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I love answering questions. Today I'm talking about food cravings. One of the big things that I do in my practice is help people get healthy. And in that process, it can be difficult because people get food cravings. This is a technique that I use, and it's part of my program, little window into what I do. And it teaches you how to beat food cravings. First off, you have to think about the food industry and what they do. What they do is they use repetition and they use emotions to work on the mind. And they do this, of course, with advertising. And then they use the food that's actually addictive. It has addictive properties and chemicals in it. Things like MSG, which is a neuroexcitotoxin, makes you eat more. And all of this is their whole process of getting us to buy the food and to keep buying the food, even though it makes us sick. And that willpower is something that eventually fails. And the reason is that willpower can only last for so long. Willpower is about strength and fortitude, and eventually that is going to weaken and you're going to feel like, I've had it, I can't give up my food any longer. And you go back to eating and gain the weight back and run through the whole process again, which stinks. And what I suggest to do is start thinking like the food industry. So let's start using emotions and repetitions, and let's change what we're doing, which means get the chemicals out. Today I'm talking about the two ways we work with the mind, repetition and emotionally. Let me talk about what a food craving is. It's a desire for something and a wanting of something, and that kind of wanting creates tension in the body. We've all felt that sense of, I gotta go get my cookie, because you're building up this tension. The tension then is kind of unpleasant, and then you start to resist it. And when you start to resist it, you create more tension in the body. And when this happens, there's agitation. Now you find yourself in the kitchen in the middle of eating the cookie, which makes total sense. What we want to talk about is how to deal with that agitation and how to actually work with the mind so that you can not only handle it, but you can change how your mind is reacting and even get rid of the food cravings, which is entirely possible. The desire to be free of something creates turmoil. Great quote. I don't know who said it, but right on, very accurate. Once we have this tension and we eat, what we want to do is create relaxation. And what does the food eating create? All of a sudden you go, and you relax. We want to create that without eating the food. The opposite of tension is relaxation, and that can be brought about very simply using the breath. The breath is easy. It's available anytime, anywhere. It's free. And it's one of the least used tools out there, but it's great. You can actually just get a little present in your body, breathe in your body, and just try letting some of that physical tension go. A body scan's really useful, kind of just letting that tension go. And keep breathing, don't hold the breath. Now I want to give you a process, and there's going to be 5 parts to it, but there's only 3 that you really want to or need to remember when you're dealing with a food craving. First is recognizing that you're having one. If you find yourself in the middle of a box of cookies maybe and start going, I must have had a food craving, then you've missed that window to intercede, but you can kind of just keep getting more and more aware and pushing that back until maybe you find yourself grabbing the cookies in the kitchen from the cabinet and going, oh wow, yeah, I'm having a food craving. You're just reacting. You're not really thinking. And then you've recognized it. Once you've recognized it, that's the first empowering step. I'm having a food craving. And now you can start dealing with some of that associated body tension and just kind of breathe and relax. Because relax is the second step. And these are all ours to make them easy to remember. So you relax the body, and then you're actually going to remember to smile. That's step 3. Remembering to smile means to bring in a more positive state. And I'll explain this. First off, relax your mouth and your face a little bit. We physiologically are more tense when we hold our body tense. We literally feel emotionally more tense when we hold our body tense. So if you relax the body a little bit, like I said with the breath and letting go of shoulder tension, and then kind of relax around the face, you're going to start changing your mood. And the smiling part means that you're not holding your mouth really tense. You're kind of relaxing it a little bit into a very soft, loose smile. I like to call it the Mona Lisa smile, because if you look at Mona Lisa, she's not doing this big old huge grin. She's just got that soft little smile. It's that smile where somebody almost is saying, I know something you don't. And actually, when you're thinking about that, you could be talking to the food industry, because you now know something. You know how they operate, and you can beat them at their own game, which is exactly what we're doing. We're going to use repetition. We're going to use emotions. And the third step within what I do, I'll just mention that because I do the detox programs, and that is getting people off the actual chemical addiction of the food, the physical addiction to the food. So we have the mind and the body addiction, both. Okay, so we've recognized the food craving. We've relaxed the body. We're breathing, and we've smiled a little bit. Now we're going to bring in something positive into our mind. Changing and controlling the pictures in our mind is within our power. Rather than seeing yourself, oh my God, I have to have this cookie, I want you to see something positive. And you do that by just remembering something that makes you feel good. Maybe it's a place, a particular moment in your life. It could be the beach, when a child was born. It could be something very simple, like looking at a baby or a puppy, your grandchild. Or just standing. For me, I can stand out and almost look out and enjoy the trees. And if I do that in my mind, it always relaxes me. And that takes you to a more positive state. Remember, we're trying to get rid of agitation, but we're not trying to get rid of it by pushing it away, because that only creates more agitation. We're trying to bring in just some gentle, good feelings. And so think of something that makes you feel good. And once you think of it in your mind, then kind of bring in the feeling that goes along with it. You might feel that in your gut, or you might feel it in your heart center. And if you have a struggle with this, or don't seem to be able to bring up anything in your mind or in your body as a feeling, it's okay. Just hold the intention to do that, and just keep that breath going, and just that soft smile going. And eventually, if you keep practicing, I promise you, you're human, you're perfectly capable of good feelings. I promise you it'll come for you. And now you're really distracting yourself away from that food craving. You're relaxing yourself, and you're bringing in something that's a diversion. But what you're actually doing is teaching your mind to think differently. Every thought we have tells our mind something about what we want. If we obsess over a new car, a new red car, all we see are red cars, because our mind's like, they're obsessing over red cars, so I guess that's what they want. If you're obsessing over food, your mind's just going to give you more food. Now we're bringing in good feelings. Your mind's going to go, and this is a part of your mind called the reticular activating system doing this, but your mind is going to go, okay, they want relaxation. We'll give them relaxation. And what we're doing is retraining. We're forming connections. Food addiction is about having brain connections associated with eating junk food. And that helps trigger us to eat the junk food. So we're forming new connections about feeling good. And the less often you give in to those food addictions, the more the brain connections recede that are connected to that. Hope that makes sense. The last 2 steps are to repeat this. Whenever the food craving returns, repeat the process again. And in time, it will become second nature for you. Just like reaching for a cookie is second nature. Or whatever you reach for. Remember, you need to, if you want to get over food cravings, you need to remove yourself or remove processed food from your diet. I love detox programs. At the end of this video, you'll see a link to my video on my detox programs, which I think are great, obviously. And remember that this is a difficult process. It's so worthwhile because what you win at the end is your health and really freedom from being under the thumb of the food industry or under the control of the food industry. I think of the Matrix with what I'm talking about because it's really true. We have been advertised to since the cradle, and that has an effect on the mind for sure. The food is addictive. Our culture is addicted to food. Marketing is very powerful. And this is really about psychological conditioning. So I'm showing you how to recondition your own mind. And remember, with this, don't let excuses get you, because we use excuses a lot to stop things. Everybody can do this. And you will have a tempo of life that will, and a degree of health if you can get off of all the crappy, processed, addictive foods, get out of that whole inflammatory body process and live just such an exceptional life and live more naturally and be happy, which is what it's all about, right? It's all about being happy. And willpower is about like almost suffering because you're trying. You have to want health, and you've got to break those old patterns to get there. Okay, guys, please like this if it was helpful for you. So I know what is helpful to you guys. Watch the video on the cleanse process that I do. You'll find that interesting. Even if you don't want to do the process, there's a lot of great information in that video. All right, see you next time. Bye.